Welcome to Machine Minds, where technology and humanity meet. I'm your host, Greg Tarusian, founder of Samson Rose, a recruiting and search business focused on the robotics and AI industries. The Machine Minds show is where we dive deep into the intricate world of robotics and artificial intelligence. As a staffing industry leader with a passion for the frontiers of technology, I'm pleased to be bringing you intimate conversations with the founders, investors, and trailblazers who are at the heart of the AI and robotics revolution. In each episode, we dig into their journeys, the applications of the products they're working on, and the breakthroughs that are shaping our future. Join us as we explore how these machine minds are transforming the way we live, work, and understand our world. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a tech enthusiast, or just curious about this amazing field, you'll learn something new with each episode. Let's delve into the extraordinary. Let's delve into Machine Minds. Welcome to Machine Minds. I'm your host, Greg Tarusian, founder of Samson Rose. And on today's episode, I'm joined by Dima Dobrynin, founder of Staxel, a company at the forefront of robotic solutions. Let's jump into it. Thanks for being on the show, Dima.
Hey, Greg. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad we got this organized, or should I say reorganized? This is take two. We had our first one organized pretty quickly, which I loved, but we met at a robotics conference a couple of weeks ago, and we had some connectivity issues, but now you are back based. You're in London right now?
Yeah, correct.
So we have solid connection, and I am glad that we could get this done. So really, I wanted to start, Dima, to find out more about your journey from an enthusiast to an innovator in the field. Obviously, now a founder of a company and an early stage startup. So could you share more about like the inception story of Staxel and what motivated you to jump into this space?
Sure. The story begins when I joined self-driving cars project. So I was a software engineer, and I decided to try myself in the world where you connect like hardware and software, and this self-driving car software was really interesting for me. And I was moving from a kind of small fintech startup to completely new area of kind of autonomous vehicles. And few months into this project, we realized that there is another kind of, as we thought, like a low-hanging fruit of making autonomous tech on a delivery robot. And that's how I switched completely to like sidewalk autonomous thing, and was working for like I think 2.5 years on this project. We were launching in the US in like in campuses, and it was a really great experience, and like something that you can enjoy when you like lead a team, or like you code yourself, and then you launch a project, you launch a product, and you see how it works. So that's amazing feeling when you actually see your work in a physical world. So after this like autonomous delivery robot project, I started ideating on the other applications of the robotics and automation stack. And because I didn't mention, but the previous project I worked for was like right in the middle of pandemic, so it was a unique opportunity for us to grow faster and to have a real use case. But at the same time, I noticed like the world was changing in the indoor kind of logistics space, and there was a rise of so-called like micro-fulfillment approach, where you have set of small warehouses or stores inside the city, and you want to collect the orders and deliver them to customers like in a kind of proximity area. So I started ideating on this part and talked to like online grocery companies in general, like e-commerce companies. And after that, I left the self-driving cars project and kind of found my current co-founder. We started ideating together on the kind of solution, the form factor, how it should work. And I realized there is still a lot of potential in the way intralogistics works. And we kind of did a little pivot, like series of pivots to came to the current concept. But now we think we found something interesting and different from other solutions. And that's kind of how Staxel was born. And we are still in the very early stage, but yeah.
Yeah, and for anyone listening, I encourage you to go and check out their website or any demo videos that they've got out there. As I mentioned, we met at a conference, Robo Business, last month, and you guys were doing your pitch. So I got did you have 5-minute fire pitch round to give the overview? Yeah. So it's pretty rushed. But since then, we've spoken a few times, and it's really promising technology and obviously a real use case there. Like you've identified, you guys have done some research. It is one of the biggest needs in robotics, or at least use cases that you can go into and plug straight in, right? So in terms of a business opportunity, it's definitely there. There is a need. So obviously you're still at the early stage, but you've mentioned you pivoted as well. Are there any other initial challenges that you've faced so far in this early founding stage? I know, for example, you're in your fundraising right now and you've got a distributed team. So for any founders listening, I'm sure you've got some wisdom that you can share about all of that.
Yeah, it's interesting that I realized at some moment the challenges you face at the early stage is not just your unique challenges. Probably there were already founders and startups who went through these challenges before. So when I was part of On Deck Founders program, we had this mastermind where we share our challenges, trying to kind of explore other ways, other people ways to solve these problems. And after that, I just decided to make my own mastermind. So I organized I call it a hard tech founders mastermind. So I just organized a group of early stage founders that has some kind of either hard tech related part, or maybe a market, even a supply chain platforms. It's still related to our mastermind. And we started to have a monthly meetings where we kind of share our both share our goals and commit to each other, and then we share our challenges, trying to help each other to solve it. So I think so far this is the most useful way I found to not get stuck into the problems, is just to brainstorm it with others, relevant people. And I think to be more precise, type of challenges could be not just hardware related. That's a common question when we started. Should I just say about something hardware issues? We said, no. We know the hardware is hard, as they say, but the problem could be anything. How do you hire interns? So we discussed one time,
Right.
How do you deal with that? The other time it was how do you as a technical founder, how do you keep up with both leading technical development, but also creating a deep relationship with customers. So because we were mostly in B2B space, and it's in some scenarios it's even more extreme when it's B2G, for example. Guys say they have to do a lot of work besides just development. So that's right. Kind of a format we found.
That's really interesting, and also a great little hack, I think, because there's people out there or companies out there that charge a lot to be part of a mastermind, right? And in my I mean, I know there's amazing ones out there. I'm not going to just sit here and talk bad about the mastermind industry, but what I've also been like introduced to or been approached by is a lot of masterminds that aren't relevant for either the stage of company that someone is in
Right.
or the industry that someone's in. So that's pretty genius to create your own of people in a similar space and then utilize that for, you know, your problem and or you're overcoming obstacles and things like that, which is great, especially at that early stage. There's a lot that you don't know, whether it's as a first-time
Right.
founder or early in your career or whatever. You're almost crowdsourcing your own network and your own advisors in a way, which is pretty
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
Actually, you mentioned the good stuff like about a similar stage. I tried to have like similar stage. I tried to invite similar stage founders, but what I also tried to do, maybe it's a bit of a trick, or maybe a bit selfish, but I tried to invite like a bit next stage guys, like
Yeah,
maybe stronger
smart.
ones, so we kind of have role model or something like that we want to be
Aspire to be to.
yeah,
Yeah.
at this stage. So this is my current, and visiting this robot business was also useful. Like I connected with a couple founders I decided to invite. So yeah, if anyone listening now and thinks you are relevant startup founder, and yeah, feel free to reach me out, and we'll talk about this.
That's great. That's great. Take him up on that invite, people. Yeah, you know, we've spoken about Robo Business a couple of times because we obviously met there. But I'm really glad that these conferences are back. You know, post COVID. Obviously, COVID was great for, I mean, horrible situation, but for accelerating robotics use cases, and like you said, sped up things for your specific industry. And the world saw the need for things like that, whether it was delivery or logistics or, you know, making sure that things don't get contaminated or touched, etc. But we lost a lot of that in-person side of things. So now being able to network again, meet people in person, see demos of products, etc. It's really powerful, especially in an industry like robotics, which is very network driven. It's not the biggest market in the world, so it's nice when you see people and get to build those relationships, and having masterminds and regular touch points, I think is a great idea. A great idea. Let's move into more about your technology and the use cases here. So Staxel, obviously, I want you to talk more about what your product's actually doing, what the technology is doing, and also how you guys are pushing the envelope in integrating robotics with everyday business solutions, everyday consumers' lives, and what the vision is there.
Yeah, absolutely. uh, at Staxel, we found a way to make like 10x more efficient fulfillment using robots and AI. So the core idea is how to make more operations done with one robot. So the usual solutions in this kind of warehouse automation space, it's something like goods to person, some kind of goods to person automation. And in our case, we want to differentiate from just traditional like goods to person solution. We say it's kind of a good to person, but person here is not a picker. It's not a dedicated person right here, right now. So we want to focus on what we call asynchronous operations. We want to be able to pre-pick number of orders or items or whatever operations we need to do with a specific customer, and to make the operations like more independent. There is a human touch in these operations still. There is like robotics touch, and we try to make them work individually. That's kind of a I think high level, but also quite specific way of things, like of how we do things. I might not elaborate like too much on this. Like we will definitely see it in the future, but in general, that's the way we kind of think about disrupting this kind of efficiency in
Great.
fulfillment.
Perfect. And we've spoken offline as well previously about like micro fulfillment compared to the other options. Is that something that you can talk about as well, and the use cases there?
Yeah, definitely. Like we with our solution, we don't say it's going to replace all the warehouse automation stuff. There is a lot of use cases for big distribution centers, facilities with large capital investments, and it's not our target niche. What we are especially good at is like a smaller 2 to 5,000 SKU facilities and the maybe high throughput requests and just kind of direct to customer stage of the whole supply chain. That's nice. Like a niche we're targeting, or intralogistics where you don't have external customer right now and move things inside, but you want to move it way more efficient than existing solutions.
Makes sense. Thanks. So moving on again, there's obviously been a rise in interest recently with AI. Obviously, there's a big hype there, but by default, robotics is getting a lot of interest again, which is amazing. And yep. The investment landscape's changing. You guys are out there raising right now, which is great. Can you share more about your experience doing that and maybe your growth plans and trajectory for expansion?
Technically speaking, like we are not started our raising now, but I was doing the whole kind of preparation set for this, and it's something maybe the On Deck program taught me is fundraising should be like a dense and intense process, and it really matters how well did you kind of warm these up. And I was connecting with potential investors before, subscribing them on our updates, reaching out to so-called like connectors, not the investors. And that's also interesting part where you trying to find people who are very well connected in your specific like industry and to like your target investors. So when the time comes, you just kind of ping the right people and get more relevant meetings in a short period of time. So I mean that's how it works in theory. I'm gonna test it in practice like very soon. And I think a lot of things can be said about fundraising, and I'm listening for podcasts, reading like articles about the other ways, and it's just something you have to go through your own experience, I believe, and you have to train your own neural net to understand what's your exact like way of doing this. From my perspective, I just like meeting in person at one point with potential investors or like any like advisor, some type of people I would love to work in the future for a long time, and create this like a personal touch and maybe share some energy I have with other people, and then keep conversation going, maybe in the mixed format, like online and in person, and just think what's their incentive, what's their target. Like they also kind of doing their own business, and it's not easy from their perspective as well, like to respond hundreds of inbound requests and how to. I actually imagine like the work of a venture investor is a kind of nightmare for me, because like at some point you don't understand where the where the truth, where is not, like where is this like unicorn. It's like too
Big
many
sales pitch.
noise, too many noise, and get out of this noise, it's like probably a big problem. So I'm just trying not to create like a noise to target like specific kind of investors and people, so we all relevant to each other and don't waste each other time. That's
great. That's very aware of their situation and trying to improve on it. I think that's ideal. I hear from investors all the time, and previous episode as well, we had VCs on, and talking about people not even looking at their website to see their investment areas, and just like you say, creating noise, sending them decks, reaching out, all of this stuff, and then their product or service offering doesn't fit well within their investment thesis. So it's just you're creating a bad impression from the get-go if you haven't even done basic research, or sending material and stuff that isn't of interest or isn't relevant. So I think that was a really good point there that you shared, that everyone needs to find their own way of what works for them when they're raising capital, because you can read every book, listen to every podcast, get all the advice. There's obviously basics and fundamentals there that you should do about like your deck and what to present and the vision and the team, etc. But it is a dance that is different for everyone. I found some people are better in person, some people are better behind a deck, some people should partner with a business or ops person to go and do the pitch, things like that. But that's really good advice that I think people should take away, because it's going to look different for everyone. But there are core things that VCs do want to see. But the way that you present those and share those is going to be different.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes, like, you as a founder have your strength better. And when you read like generic article about fundraising and think like you probably should do this, it's not always the right way. Like you have to find your strength. And everybody says about storytelling, like how you put your compelling story together. So that's also something I'm focusing on right now. But after all, it's just your it's partially your personal story. So the most I think successful maybe pitches I saw, it's something that goes deeply from personal story to the solution, and then you don't have questions like what's the problem, why, and it's just all so like well connected. And even on the robot business startup pitch competition, we saw like the company, I believe it's called Glide, and I think you definitely have to record the podcast with them. I was like fascinated by the founder building robotics for like helping blind people to guide them, and the CEO is blind, and it's just such a strong story and so motivational one. So I think that's probably something that not just investors, everybody is not even like a person focused on this area can say, yes, this is the thing, this is a
it's impactful.
It's something that
emotional. Real use case. No, that was great. A very hard company to beat in a competition, just FYI. You guys didn't have a chance. Sorry.
It's another story.
Okay. And last question on the investment side of things, but from your vantage point, how do you see looking ahead, but the relationship between investors and founders evolving in the robotics and AI sectors? Because sometimes it's people just want to check, and we had some of this conversation while we were there in those sessions, but some people just want money, some people want more of an involved investor. Like you said, there's connectors in the space, things like that. So how do you see the relationship between investors and founders changing or evolving?
I could speak just for industry I am in, like, because what you said before, like the kind of cold outreach of thousands of investors, probably more specific to general like SaaS startups.
Right.
In the robotics related world is like less, like the number of relevant funds is way less, but they are more, I don't know, focused, more motivated to help these like robotics founders, because we are like most of the websites, like of the, if you just go and build like average website of all the VC firms, it will be like changing the world and moving the, like, I don't know, the humanity forward. Like, but it's sometimes it's just like doesn't match with like investing in only B2B SaaS like CRM systems, like, and the robotic investors, I think, deserve more attention, and in general like deep tech field, because it's like people spend their life on more disruptive things, on something that requires way more R&D, and the relationship you create with investors, like regarding your question, it's something that you may work for the next 10 years here, and maybe even more in some, like, I don't know, biotech is like maybe 10, 15 years in terms of like length of relationship. But from my perspective, like the robotics ecosystem is quite niche, but very friendly and like well established, and with all the growth around the generative AI, I think it's going to be even, it's going to get more interest. I don't know when it's going to be like the next kind of in the center of the next hype cycle or something, but it's definitely going to be like in the future, because right now you can do so much more with all these AI capabilities. And one quick example, maybe, in the VC firm, I think is ideal in a way I see them work with founders is and maybe even the exact person I will tell, Abe Murray from Ali Corp. Like we met at the Robotic conference in London, and I started following his newsletter. So it's like monthly updates about robotics industry and investments. And you just feel the passion, this Abe has a goal to like connect with, like, I don't know, 10,000 robotic startups and be, in the center of this relationship, be the best connector, as I described there, and maybe like invest in the best startups there. And he really passionate about this field, and you feel this passion not just in person, but even like by email communications. He's always up to connect with you with some relevant companies in the field, and even so he is like not your investor. I couldn't imagine, like, probably when he or the Ali Corp in general invested in you, it's like even higher level of involvement. Yeah, but this is how I think relationship between founders and VC should look like.
That's great. Yeah, we'll definitely need to get him on the show for sure.
Yeah, I refer you, Abe.
Thank you. Well, before we wrap up, can you just quickly tell us what's next on the horizon for Staxel? Any exciting projects, or what's the next milestone for you? I know you mentioned that you're about to start the fundraising journey, but yeah, what's next for the team?
Yeah, we're about to start fundraising journey to launch a pilot with the next customer in 2024, and because I couldn't tell more details on the exact kind of things, but I think the concept is we want to focus in the near term, but the concept is general, is quite scalable. So I'm sure you will hear about more use cases later when we reveal kind of stuff we are doing. And in terms of our goals is this fundraising to launch the next customer and hiring like a team of professionals in this autonomy and robotics area. I hope one day I'll also use the power of network to get the best people on our team. But the key advice I get all the time is like it's very simple. It's like focus. So I'm trying to do like things one by one in some sense, and have like one focus topic, for example, per month. And if like this November month could be like, I don't know, fundraising, and usually fundraising is not 1 month, but just like one period is like focus on this thing, and the other period focus on the other thing. And this way you can significantly kind of
Have
advance advance in a specific. When I started doing things, I was just, maybe because I came from the big company experience, I was trying to do a lot of things simultaneously and approach like all the people, doesn't matter like what they focus on, exactly as you described, like the situation when you didn't see a portfolio on the website or something. So I kind of understood that it's not the right approach.
Right. Right. That's great. Thank you for that. And we are here to help you when you are looking for your team. So use this network as
definitely.
well. And yeah, I think that's really good advice. It's also, I think, really powerful and useful to have a strong co-founder or team that you can bounce ideas off, whether it's your individual team, or like you said, you have your mastermind or whatever it may be, because you're going to get a lot of value there. And, you know, you've shared a lot of gems here for early stage founders. I think the mastermind's one, definitely. Also the fundraising journey, that's going to be different for everyone. You've got to really find your own groove and what that looks like. And then just doing stuff, it sounds like, systematically with focus.
Right.
So
Yep.
that's great. Thank you again for taking the time to be on the show and share all of this. And I'd love to have you back on later on when you guys have raised and you're in the groove. You're probably going to be so busy, but I'm sure we can carve out a little bit of time to do that. Even maybe if when I'm in London, I'll have to come and track you down. But anyone listening,
definitely,
please go and check out getstaxel.com. And also reach out to Dima directly if you are interested in that mastermind. And we will hopefully be having him back on in the next year or so.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Greg.
Yeah. Thanks, Dima. Take care.
Bye.